So we've had clients that make tens of thousands of dollars 8 hours after their first coaching call. But we've also had clients that spend months building out their social media presence before they make a single dollar from this whole thing. And the one thing that all of our successful clients have in common is that they continue posting on social media until they see success. The ones that are unsuccessful are the ones that give up far too soon. And it's kind of like that joke that 99% of gamblers quit before they hit it big. But unlike playing the lottery, where the more opportunities you have, the worse your average expected outcome becomes, because it's reversion to the mean, where the mean or the average is that the lottery company makes a massive profit and not the actual player. But on social media, the outcome is actually flipped. So the more chances you have, the higher the likelihood of success. And the cool thing about social media is that it is basically free to buy as many lottery tickets as you want. It doesn't cost you anything to make a post. And there are a lot more rich people made on social media every month than there are from the lottery. And so here's kind of a cool graphic that explains what your expectations should be when starting on organic social media if you're starting with absolutely nothing. So let's start with the amount of effort involved down here. So you're going to spend a lot of time and effort in the first couple of months learning this whole new marketing system, especially if you're brand new to social media, have never done it successfully before. Going through this program kind of in month 1 and 2 and actually having to implement everything can feel like a lot if you've never done anything like this before. But eventually the goal is where you can just relax a little bit and, at the end, once you've got all the systems dialed in and everything is set up, you could just sit down for a couple hours a month, or like I do, a couple hours a quarter, film everything all at once and just have it handled. So the effort does dramatically decrease once you've learned the process. And realistically, talking about the results from this, if you're starting from zero on social media and you don't currently have revenue with organic social media, you're probably not going to see any measurable kind of ROI from organic social media in the first couple of months. And that's simply because it takes time to build trust both with the audience and the platform to where you're putting money in your pocket for literally nothing more than your free words on social media that people watch for free. You're not paying for ads to get these customers. You're not paying for any kind of marketing whatsoever. You're making free content on social media and virtually shaking someone's hand to close a deal. Like, just to be clear, you can't expect someone to give you millions of dollars the second they find out you exist. This does take some time. And it's not just building trust with the audience and getting them to know, like, and trust you, but it's also building trust with the social media platform, especially platforms like Instagram with one of the highest earning potentials. Instagram is very hesitant to promote new content creators because if you think about it from Instagram's perspective, they should be cautious in giving just anyone a platform. Like if you were a social media platform tasked with the single goal of keeping users on the platform as long as possible, and you have a choice between whose content you want to put in front of your viewers, would you push the established content creator who's been consistently making content for years, never missed a day of posting, is well liked by his followers? Or would you rather promote a piece of content that is brand new from a brand new account that just started yesterday where you don't have any historic data whatsoever to go off about the account's public perception of that content creator or how that individual piece of content would perform? Trusted creator, brand new creator. If you're trying to keep someone on the platform, which type of content would you promote? Probably the trusted one. And that being said, it's not that you can't be successful with the brand new account, but oftentimes it just literally takes time in the system on the platform to build that trust with the platform. And then you have to build that trust with the audience before you can actually sell them, which is why this result here is delayed by oftentimes a couple of months if you're starting absolutely from scratch. But at the same time, it does work in an exponential manner. And you can look at this taken to the extremes with some of the biggest content creators on the planet. So Mr. Beast, for example, one of the biggest personalities on the internet ever, spent 7 years going from 0 to 1 million subscribers. 7 years. And then the next year, he got to 10 million subscribers. And then 4 years later, he hit 100 million subscribers. The year after that, he got to 200 million subscribers. And then less than a year after that, he got to 300 million subscribers. And the more you scale, the bigger you become, the easier it is to get even bigger. And this is further accelerated by the amount of posts you make. So in the first couple of months, you might be getting set up to make content in the first place. And then for months 2 through 3 or 4, you might be just posting once per day. But once you see revenue coming in, once you see a little bit of traction, once you're able to put systems in place to make it easier to post more, it's going to be easy to justify spending more time and effort to make more content. Again, because the rate of effort per content is decreasing and the result per piece of content is increasing. And usually this is what that looks like. So in the first month that you're batching your content, you'll do batch 1. You'll sit down for a couple hours, film all of your content. That's the first batch. In month 2, you'll film the second batch. In month 3, you'll film the third batch. And you continue filming one new batch of content per month. But around month 3, usually we make the recommendation, depending on your content, your niche, to repost that first batch of content. You potentially have the opportunity to have more than one piece of content per day go out, because you have one piece of content per day from batch 3 and one piece of content per day from batch 1. There's lots of ifs, ands, or buts related to this, but just as an example of how it actually gets easier to make more new content. One, you're improving the skill of batching content all throughout, so sequentially these will get easier and easier to do, while at the same time you are reposting content as the months progress, and then eventually you work up to reposting twice per day and having one new piece of content also per day go live. And I just want to reemphasize the exponential nature of success on social media. And I've had many months this year myself with my business where we average more than $10,000 per organic post from social media. On every post, on average, across the entire month, I make more than $10,000 per post from organic. And once you start to see those kinds of results, it becomes easier and easier to justify spending more time and more effort, all while it's getting easier and the results are increasing exponentially. Like literally, this is one of the craziest things I have ever seen in business ever. And the biggest brands in the world have already figured this out on a large scale with brand and why companies like Nike and Adidas spend billions of dollars on their marketing campaigns. And only now are people starting to realize the same thing applies with their personal brand and that it doesn't cost billions to do, but it's absolutely free to post. So please do not take it for granted. Expect it to be really difficult at the start, but expect it to be very worth it in the end. Let's get to work.